Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Or should I say, good morning, Reflectors. It's Friday, November 14th, and it's Reflection Friday. We are reflecting on what we've discussed so far and what's your why. Specifically, though, Annette, you asked me a multi part question yesterday. How am I doing with my perfectionistic tendencies now that there's been some space? Because we discovered my perfectionism as it relates to hustle culture at the very beginning of that theme that we started in mid-October.
Yes.
And you're saying, well, how has that shown up and how do you feel now that we're discussing what's your why?
Right. Like, have you experienced a shift when we're shifting from proving to expressing? And especially this week, because what we were focusing on this week is this external validation and then moving that toward inner alignment. It's not that easy. And I know that you have struggled with perfectionism. You shared that with us.
Yes, I have for as long as I can remember. Last month, though, was a turning point. And that turning has continued on in our What's Our Why theme. I wanted to recap and reiterate from yesterday that when I said starting to be authentic was very scary, and I'm sure a lot of people have that experience, I want people to know that doesn't last forever.
No.
As you practice and are authentic, the scariness does go away. So give yourself some time if you feel that, oh my gosh, if I'm authentic, people won't love me, people will like me. Practice, try it out. People will surprise you. And then you can also know if people don't like the authentic you, that's a door opening to find the people who do like the authentic you. Because life is too hard to carry the burden of all those masks.
What we tell our clients and what we've practiced ourselves is when you're first starting to go from proving to expressing, you want to do that with safe people.
That's right.
And get some wins under your belt and get that confidence. Okay, so you're saying, based on this two-part question that I asked you yesterday, that yes, you have experienced a change. I would really appreciate it if you could share a little bit about that change. Practically, how is the change showing up? And then I also want you to touch on, are you able to experience some joy in a situation like exercise where it was more proving? And it wasn't like you were proving to other people, but you were proving to yourself always. And that was the perfectionism coming in. Are you enjoying your exercise more? Like anything that you could share, because I want to hear from you, because I know how deep-seated the perfectionism was in you. I want you to help all of us as we're trying to develop our trust muscles in ourselves. Like, we can show up from this very authentic place, meaning, purpose, authenticity. I can do what I truly want to do. I can show up with meaning, purpose, and authenticity, and it's going to be okay. Because when the feedback that we're hearing from our clients is, well, this sounds really great and I love this, and it's kind of scary. So I wanted you to give us some encouragement by sharing your experience.
Well, with exercise, what I've noticed, it's not stressful anymore. I was going for that proving mentality of, did I check the box off on my to-do list? It was a feelings to-do list, yes. It also was a task to-do list. It had a little bit of both. I love the exercise feeling, but then it was like, okay, if I'm going to be a healthy person, got to check that box. Did I do it enough times in a week? Did I follow all of my routines that I've made up for myself? And it was very stressful. The shift I've seen, it's actually more fun now. I don't beat myself up because sometimes I'm just really tired. I've done a lot in a day. It's like, I'm too tired. I'm just going to go to bed, or I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to watch TV. And that's okay. It's finally actually okay just to do that. And I don't think I've ever experienced that to this level before. And it's a wonderful experience because I can then express, how am I feeling today? Is this something I actually can do? Is this something I want to do? I actually get the choice now. There was so much pressure I put on myself before because I was trying to live up to this image or view that I have of myself or had of myself, that I was only good enough, that proving, if I could check that exercise box. Another way I've seen we're continuing to drop that hustle culture mentality is actually in reading books. I used to get so stressed out because I would say, well, okay, I want to read this book, but is this something I can use in my life? Does this have some kind of life-changing value? Is it something I could use for work? Is it worth something to me? That was so stressful because I'd start a book and then I'd say, well, no, I don't think this is the right book I should be reading right now. I'll read this other one. No, wait, no. I shouldn't be reading this one right now because I can't see a big picture purpose in it. I should actually be reading this other book. And then it would go around. Like, this is where Annette would say, you have like such bad circuit training. Like, what are you doing? You go from one thing to the other thing, because I felt so much pressure. And it was self pressure. It was pressure I was just putting on myself. But that's how it would go. It would be, okay, I want to do this, but I don't see the value in it, the immediate value, the tangible value, beyond just the joy of reading. So then I'd have to keep on going around and around trying to find, like, what was that perfect book I should be reading rather than what's the book I actually just want to read. So in addition to the exercise field, even reading has become so much less stressful because I'm just reading the books I want to read, even if they don't have productive value.
Okay, now, so somebody listening to the podcast might say to you, and I want us always to be real, Ada, are you really saying a month of listening about hustle culture and getting clear about your why has made that big a difference in your life? In some ways, it seems too good to be true. What would you say to them? I wish people could see you in person. You have changed in the last 6 weeks immeasurably. You are somebody, like we've talked about, who've started with no. You can be a little negative Nancy, and you admit this. And it's not like you've had a personality transplant.
No, I'm still me.
You're still you, but you seem lighter. And you've been doing personal development for a very long time. You seem lighter. You seem more joyful. Is it simply because you had this realization that you've been hustling for your worth and you don't need to do it anymore? Like, please share.
To get a little Jungian on us and psychoanalyze myself, of course, it wasn't just that realization, but it put me heading in the right direction. So the thing about Carl Jung, he worked with his clients in the way of let me back up. So the way he saw the world is every person had a conscious mind, an unconscious mind, and then as humans, we have a collective unconscious.
Yes.
And the way he worked with his patients or clients was to try to bring the unconscious to the conscious mind and create that awareness, and then you actually had choice about what you're doing. The unconscious was what was really controlling everybody, and once it came up into the conscious mind, then you had a choice in how you wanted to act and how you wanted to behave. So to psychoanalyze myself a little bit, I had no idea I had such a big struggle with this hustle culture stuff, and it became an unconscious experience, and now it's a conscious experience. Because when it's unconscious, we don't have control of it. It's just like a program in the background of a computer or on your phone. You're not pressing on the app to open it up. It's just running in the background. And it's going and it's doing its thing. And you don't get to adjust the settings at all. You don't get to have any input on it. It's just going. That's just what it's doing. once you say, oh, wait, I can actually adjust the settings here, I can even delete it if I want to. We actually have more power in how we show up in the world. So for me, having that episode, especially, I think it was the first Friday or the first Thursday we were talking about hustle culture. It's like, oh my God, I got an addiction to this hustle culture stuff. I'm always hustling for my worth. I'm always hustling and trying to prove myself. What have I been doing? So I got that awareness, so that unconscious pattern and program was now brought into my awareness, into my conscious mind. So then it gave me power over it. And it gave me a choice in how I want to show up. And like I started this little tangent with, it wasn't the only thing, but once I had that awareness, then I got pointed in the right direction of, oh, this is what I need to work on. Before, when it was unconscious, I didn't even know it was a problem. This was just the way I was. This is just how I show up. I'm an anxious twit. And I just kind of spiral and circuit train, but I eventually get there. And once I feel everything's fine, I'll get there. And I would think that to myself, I'll get there. I'm not too worried about it. I'll get there. But then knowing, oh, this is because I'm continually trying to prove my worth. I'm hustling for approval. I'm hustling for this, that, and the other thing. Now that I know that, when I can sense that and see it in what I'm doing, I can have a choice of, do I actually want to do this? Do I have an authentic, meaningful, purposeful why? Or am I being inauthentic here?
Thank you for sharing that. We have a client, she's retired now, but she was a therapist, for, I think, for like 45 years. And she says, we are on this hamster wheel and we keep doing the same old thing when it is in our unconscious. But then once we get it into our consciousness and that self-awareness, that's the verbiage you and I typically use. Once we get it into our consciousness and then can see what we're doing. I mentioned the client that she just is still with me the other day. She said, well, this is scary. This is scary. Like, I don't know what people are going to do if I start really being my true self and saying what I really think. And she wasn't talking about anything other than, this is the restaurant I would like to go to. That conversation, though, with her, remember, coaching is a conversation, you could see where she was recognizing the huge burden that she has been carrying by putting on this mask that what she desires doesn't really matter. She's very agreeable. Everything else is fine if everybody else is happy. Like, that mask was getting heavier and heavier and heavier. I really appreciate you sharing your experience, because you're sharing your experience with yourself, that this is, no one else was watching you exercise and telling you what to do. So it makes such a big difference in your relationship with yourself and how you experience life on a daily basis now. And then we extend it with, how do we now show up with others? I'm so pleased that you have come to this place where you saw the heavy cost that you were paying emotionally, mentally, physically, when you were deep into perfectionism and proving. And now you're letting go and experiencing so much more joy.
I sure am. And it's been a gift. So our intention for today and for this weekend is, when you look at the topics we've discussed this week, whether it's, are you living someone else's why, practicing self-forgiveness, checking in with our inner callings and what we really want to do, what's our authentic experience here on earth, pick one of them to reflect on. We're going to do this a little free form. We're not going to give you a hard question or something firm. Think of which one had the greatest impact on you, the one that's caught your attention. Reflect on that, because we know that the things that draw our attention, those are the things we need to work on most. Thank you so much for joining us today and this week. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you Monday.
See you then.
I'm wanting something more, and I'm ready to begin. A life of happiness awaits me. It starts today when I intend.